What's up? It's your boy Carcino here, man. Let's get into it. Jaden Smith. Why is everyone so off the grill and off the rails on this one? I mean, really, everybody missed the mark. I was saying to myself, I said, if I was Jaden Smith, would I even be caring? And you took a look at this young kid who's 22 years of age, and you taking a look at him and you're like, wow. The look that he got on his face is one that is far beyond his years. If you look at his eyes, his mind is more fluent and more laser focused. And he went up there to do this interview on Big Boy TV against his family's wishes, by the way. Dave's like, oh, they're going to set traps for you to say this and say that. Uh-oh. Well, what do you know? Somebody's trying to spam me. See that? Y'all don't get enough. Now, Jaden Smith decided to do things his way, his own way, and come up the way he wanted to because it only made sense to do it that way. Why would he take another route that just doesn't make any damn sense? I mean, really, everybody's waiting for him to be a man or whatever, and this is why the family was like kind of didn't trust it, even though they like Big Boy and Big Boy is cool. They wanted to make sure, he wasn't gonna be set up and trapped because the whole world is waiting on asking him one question about his dad and Will Smith and how's he doing? What's going on with Will? You know, that's what the world is holding on to. They want to hear something about Will and Jada. And they're sitting there with ears glued, waiting for him to say something that they could take and make a meme out of. And when he said, I hang out with adults more than I do people my own age, because people my own age, they have nothing really to share. They're just like, yeah, and that's the only thing they could find that they wanted to basically go away from. When he felt he was going too far down the road, he stopped himself and changed the subject. Because he was going down the road of how he didn't want the Smith name. Just kind of like Jaden Smith is the actor, Jaden is the artist. Willow Smith did it first, and he thought that was genius. So, I mean, I picked up a lot from it. You could tell he's been educated, even though he's been homeschooled. And I think he did a great job of holding his own and conducting an interview. He was concise, he got to the point. Um, I mean, he was there to promote something, that a project he's working on, talked about his desires in music. I don't understand what people expected to get. I know they're glued to the Smiths right now, but what did you expect this kid to say? Him, it's the son, the mother and the sons are more closer than the daughters and mothers. That's the way it goes. And the thing is, you you always try to figure out what's the best thing that's going on for you, or what's the best step for you in the situation. It's like for him, he knew he wasn't gonna mess up. This is too important. So he had to be on his toes. But they wanted to make him like, we got to do this. We got to get him out there making these moves and saying these things. It was so important to have him do that. Now,
my dad started with making music, you know what I'm saying? And then he slowly evolved into Fresh Prince, and then he kind of went into movies after that, you know what I'm saying? That was kind of his bridgeway, and he kind of went off into the next direction, just kept catapulting. I kind of did the opposite. I started making movies, and then I kind of got older, and then I was like, I kind of really like making music.
Yeah.
And then I kind of, this is my first real success with music, so we'll see where it goes from there.
I love that you are in a position, and not just in the neighborhood, but you can go directly to your Instagram or your social media platform and clear up things like this as well.
Yeah, I do like that. That's great for like real fans, but
Yeah.
people just read a headline and then that's a fact, and
Yeah.
then they go away and,
And
they
then
go
they-
out in their life, and what they read on that headline is a fact now, and it's like,
And it never gets recalled when it's corrected.
it never gets recalled, because ultimately people want clicks.
Mhm.
They're not trying to tell the truth.
And have you ever seen a retraction in
and like he says, what's the fun in telling the truth? But here's what's more important in this situation. He is more like Jada. He's more like Jada in this situation. Jaden Smith is more relatable to Jada than he is anything else that he got going on. Like, this is why it's difficult, really, for him, is because he's more like Jada than anybody else in the world. So, oh my God. Yawning for a minute. No, he wants to leave because he's just like his mom. They butt heads more than anybody in the family. But she loves him, and it's been this way since he was like 12. He's never really been a little kid. As he told you, he's been hanging around adults and people that's 5, 6, 7 years older than him. And as his whole life, as you see all these people around him, you're like, wow, these people are super passionate about making music or doing certain things that, are in his wheelhouse. Like he just told you, he started off from acting and went directly to music. But he had the opportunities to do that and the vehicle to do that because his father was already successful before he was even born. So, all of these things that was transpiring around him, this was kind of the what they say, the Green Mile. This was it. well, well, you see, you gotta understand that Kanye West's and Drake's are like the old dogs, in this situation. Like you look at him, his inspirations are more like Tyler the Creator, Pharrell, and all those. Let's listen to him.
Tyler Creator,
Yes.
Frank Ocean, ASAP Rocky just dropped an amazing project. I really look up to Flacco, just as far as art and just everything, honestly. And so those are my top right now. I mean, Tyler and Flacco, Tyler and Rocky are really like my some of my two favorite people. Just aside from music too, like they're just awesome.
Yeah,
like,
man.
Tyler, if Tyler never made
Tyler's
music,
funny.
if Tyler never made music, he's still a legend here. He's still a legend in Fairfax,
He's
LA.
another icon.
Yeah,
living.
he's an icon. If Flacco never made music, like I know people that grew up in Harlem, they're like, oh no, we knew about ASAP before the music. Like we knew they were wild, they were fresh, they were just next level, and they were just doing other stuff. So like, I love both of them. Those are like my big bros. I look for them for advice. Those are the only people that I really care about what they think about my albums. Tyler said that he didn't really like my last album.
I love that he said that.
Yeah, that's great. I love that he said that too.
Yeah.
Kept it real.
Yeah, he really kept it real.
Did you ever just kind of like, did you take it or were you like, man, okay, fuck you?
No, I wasn't like that.
Okay, just
I
check.
was just more like, yo, tell me why.
Mm.
Like, help me. Then get in the studio. Then be a mentor for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, then really help me. Then boss up and really be a
Does
big
it
bro.
hurt a little bit because it is Tyler and you look up to him, or you understood where it was coming from?
No, I mean, I totally understand where it's coming from, and it's really helping me make this next album. But then I also think back, it's like, how mad am I gonna be if he really put me on his album? Like, he can't hate me. Like, I'm on his album.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I was just like,
All right, okay. I'm gonna take it, but I'm also
Yeah.
gonna take this little grain of salt.
Yeah. And he's allowed me to perform at Flog now, so like I guess it's just like friendly advice,
Right.
I love him though. He's great.
But I love you didn't get defensive where you came back and said something about one of his songs. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause that's what I would have done. But
That's
I'm
how I
not
felt right
ignorant
now
like
in my
that.
heart. I was like, oh, don't say that to him.
He's the
I
best.
would have been like, well, your hat is stupid.
Yeah.
But I'm totally way more childish than anyone in the room, Jaden.
Nah, I can't because I just love him so much.
Jaden Smith.
And you see how they were going down that trope? You see how they was pushing and kept staying on that? Because they want to stay on Tyler the Creator and get him talking about Tyler. Because his so-called friendship with Tyler the Creator is one that many people view as a romantic one. And they were kind of like setting the stage to try to get him to go down that damn well. Yeah, well, I've done a lot in my life. A lot of things that I'm proud of. A lot of things that I'm more than proud of. Of course, I did things I'm not proud of, but the majority of my life has been spent me doing things I was proud of. And has happened to be one of them. I was always proud to know that no matter what the situation is, I always told the truth. It's always very truthful. And being that I was always very truthful, things always worked out for me in a positive manner. And as I move forward in life right now, I always look at the facts that, hmm, are we doing enough? Are we saying enough? Are we being enough? Now, people like Jaden Smith is too young to understand that, but then again, maybe he's not. Everything he said was so fluent and so truthful in that interview. He was being himself. He was staying true. Every word. It was clear and concise. Oh man. Oh no, he just spoke on his middle name being Sire. And he loved vampires and and his mom wanted to name him Sire, but Will was obsessed with having his son named after him, or and all of this stuff, and like having a say in the name. So Jaden became the name Jaden Sire, and it's fitting because Jaden is more like him. Trey is already named after him, so. No, Will came up with Jaden, not Jada. Jada wanted to name him Sire, and he named him after Jaden. Called him Jaden. So that was acceptable by her. So he was Jaden Sire. And like he said, he loved vampires. And he's like, when you turn someone into a vampire, you sire them. And he was. So, yeah, it's, he always have a love for vampires. So he thinks it's just fitting. It's connected to his name and all this stuff. So, yeah, yes, you could tell he's still some kid in him. But he's called in this, new millennial wave, even though he's 22. Well, it's like Juice World. Asking me to review a Jaden Smith album is like, you're not going to get. That music is not generated for anyone in their 40s. Their music is not generated for anybody of our age. So why should anybody in our age be viewing like, why should we be reviewing that? So people be like, yo, what's up with you and Juice World? And he from the Shy. And you, just because someone is from our city, they could be on my block. If we into different things, we're into different things. It's hard for me to get into stuff like that. It's some songs can resonate, but a lot of them is not for me. So I'm not gonna sit here and be one of them people that judge it.
Well, because I'm
Listen,
sorry, I got so excited. But it's just modern day slavery that's happening right now, and it's just not fair, and it's privatized. It's not run by the government. It's something that's private, and it's ridiculous. And people are making money off of it.
Man.
People are making money, and it's in their best interest as a businessman or a businesswoman to put more people in prison.
Yeah, to keep it full. It
More
costs
prisons and schools.
less, of course, to put someone in college than it does to incarcerate them.
100%.
Yes,
and that's
man.
ridiculous. We should put everybody in college because
Why would you care about that being Jaden Smith?
Because I just care about the world. And I've been able at a young age to fly to this side of the world and to this side of the world and to that side of the world and see this business person and this business person and this person has this and this person that doesn't have shit. And then I'm like, what is going on here? This is not normal. This is not how things are supposed to function. And there's people that are trying to specifically hold us down as a community, and it's just not okay. And young people just got no idea what the fuck is going on. So I'm just like, no. No, 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 no. You need to know right now the prisons are privatized and this is all a system that they're doing and making us hate school so that we're like, oh, fuck school. We drop out and then we're like, oh, I'm going to go make cash another way. That way happens to be illegal and then you go to prison, which costs more than you could have just gone to college. And then you could have just gone to a place that educated you to make money in a way that was a legal way of making money.
No more rehabilitation.
Yes.
There's absolutely nothing there, bro.
It's ridiculous. People are just trying to survive. That's all that people are trying to. They're not just trying to go and be criminals or do messed up things. People are trying to survive. People are trying to support their families. And that's what's just so fucked up. And if we gave people an option, another way, more jobs, more education, so that they could support their families, then maybe we wouldn't have everybody in the prisons. But guess what? They want us in the prisons because that's how they're going to make money.
Oh, yeah. And they keep them full. And we've built more prisons in 1 year than we have built schools in the last 10, 20 years, bro.
It's just so...
Like, and it is a system. And they look at your kids saying, okay, the dad is here, and in 10 years we'll have you. And then in another 5 years, we have your little brother.
And we're preparing everybody to go to prison through the schools.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, the people that are not doing good in the grades, oh, you're doing like this, oh, you go to the detention, da-da-da-da. There's too many correlations between public schools and prisons. The fact that you have the long hallways, the fact that you have a fixed response to authority, the fact that, oh, there's a specific time when you can go outside and play, and then there's a specific time that you can come back in. And the way that you're notified with that happening is through the bells. They're subconsciously getting you to have a fixed response to authority and understanding what it's going to be like when you are in prison. It's like, no, when you're here, you have to listen to me. I'm in charge. Now I'm going to pass you off to this next person is in charge when you're doing this. And it's like you have these fixed response to authorities, and then you know how to react. And it's just like, oh, okay, you went to school, all right. You already know how it's going to go in prison. You got the bells. You got the times where you can go out when you have to come back in, and then you have your authority figures that you have to respond to. You've already been trained for this. For your whole life, you've been bred for this.
Yeah.
The same way that they're breeding, the same way that they're breeding animals and slaughtering them and then feeding it to all of us is the same way. That's what they're breeding us to go into prison. They're breeding us, or they're breeding us to go to school and learn how to work a 9 to 5 and work to a factory. Like, school was invented for the Industrial Revolution because people were cutting their fingers off in the factories because they couldn't read the instructions. So they were like, oh, people are literally killing themselves in these new factories because we just discovered how to do all of this stuff. So put them in school 9 to 5 so they get used to waking up 9 a.m. and then finishing at 5 p.m. They get used to the bells. They have the bells in the factories too. They have the times where you go outside in the factories as well. It's like fixed responses to authority and then fixed scheduling so that you are stuck in this literal system so that you're not a free thinker to where you can be like, oh, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do this. No, you work for this specific corporation that's been breeding you since you were born. Now I'm done with my rant.
Jaden.
Now, look at this. Now, you see, this is what happens when you hang out with people past your years. You start getting real education. and talking about real things. Now, how many people are talking about this and what he just spoke about prisons being privatized? I'm not seeing that go viral. They focused on what he talking about with his mama. And anything with Will. They want to stay away from that privatized prison system. Why? Why would they do that? Because this puts a spotlight on them if it ever gets highlighted in the media. But that's exactly what's been going on for years. It's an economic prison system. And it's been going on since the 80s. The man's got a surefire system, an economic prison. And they kept building them. They got prisons in these towns that you never even heard of. They're way out in Bumble. There ain't nobody that look like you in these towns. They got the sheriffs, whatever, the food come in from the warden's daughter. She's in charge of the food company that delivers the milk and the snacks, and the vending machine company is owned by this guy, and they all in partnership, and they can run the prison how they want to run it. No government is in charge. You putting these guys to work by force, paying them 8 cents an hour. Got them designing license plates, doing duties. Stuff they wouldn't do when they was free. So on that note, I'm out. I want to say God bless. Y'all have a beautiful day. Love, peace, and hair grease. Y'all tell me what y'all thought of the interview. I thought it was enlightening and changing of the world, or changing of the guard, or whatever. But I thought it was very different and very fresh. And he didn't fall for a lot of the traps that were set, and spoke on points I thought that were very influential for young minds to hear. So thank you for your time. Thanks for anybody that put up a super chat. My Cash App is Carcino. The Patreon, yes, we're getting ready to put up that Suge Knight story that no one's talked about. So, yep, that's coming to, I think, tonight. I'm going to put it up tonight. So, anyway, I'm going to get out of here. Peace.